Whoops! Uh-oh. Well, what have we here? Netflix wins bidding war for WBD, enters exclusive deal talks. So, I mean, I knew they had a strategy, and I thought it would take a little longer. But, well, how about this? A major shift in Hollywood is underway as Netflix has reportedly won the bidding war for Warner Bros. Discovery and entered exclusive talks to finalize a deal. The trades report Netflix hit the price WBD wanted, beating out Paramount and Comcast after a volatile day of counteroffers and back-channel maneuvering. It should be said the deal is far from completed as Netflix and WBD still have to finish the talks. It's also been reported that Netflix will face years of regulatory scrutiny. Deadline reports that Netflix offered $28 a share for Warner Bros. Discovery Studio and HBO Max assets. The wrap adds Netflix hit the magic $30 a share figure that sealed the exclusive window. So, why the difference? Because the $30 would make it because that's what Zaslav was asking for. Now, they keep talking about the, oh, damn it, I'm already forgetting that what was it, $24 that Paramount had offered? But I thought they had raised that to $27.50. And Zaslav still rejected it. He wanted a bidding war to see if he could jack up that price. But, as things are going, the one who gets closest to it first, maybe it is the 28 figure. But if it's the $30 a share, then that's that. They're in. So, Paramount was going to buy the whole shebang. Here, Netflix, of course, was only interested in Warner Brothers and, HBO Max. So even though the actual split of the company was to take place next year, even with the negotiations of the sale, they said, yeah, that's still going to happen. And especially since they're only interested in these assets, not the, cable legacy media stuff. So anyway, both outlets confirmed Netflix included a massive $5 billion breakup fee, matching the protection Paramount added to its own bid. WBD put itself up for sale in October. Today's development marks the beginning of exclusive deal negotiations between Netflix and Warner Bros. Discovery, a stage that shuts out all other bidders unless talks collapse. So that's that. Unless there's some breakup between the two in negotiations, Paramount and Comcast is game over. Paramount aggressively countered earlier in the day, arguing it was the only bidder with a clear path to closing. Its concerns centered on regulatory issues with Netflix and Comcast, which Paramount insisted regulators would reject, and that's still a possibility. But the higher Netflix offer appears to have outweighed those warnings. Paramount's separate push, including letters accusing WBD leadership of running a tainted process, wasn't enough to stop the outcome. Well, they probably didn't like that, but what if it's true, Comcast was also outbid and never emerged as a serious final contender. So, by moving into exclusive talks, Netflix is positioned to acquire Warner Brothers Studios, HBO Max, major IP, including Harry Potter and DC, all associated content libraries and production infrastructure. Netflix long compared itself to HBO when it began original programming. It now stands on the brink of owning HBO outright. If completed, the acquisition would massively reshape the entertainment industry and give Netflix unprecedented control over film, streaming, and legacy franchises. Well, the deal isn't simple. Netflix faces the toughest regulatory fight of all three bidders. Yeah, because you're the dominant streaming service now gobbling up the third streaming service as far as the ranking goes. Whereas Paramount Plus wasn't in that league, so they had some wiggle room there as far as acquiring a streaming service. And very few hurdles, plus the good relationship with Trump, was going to give them an edge. But, well, couldn't cough up the money, I guess. So the DOJ antitrust scrutiny is expected. Oh, yes. Representative Darrell Issa has already warned the merger would harm competition. California AG Rob Bonta previously opposed WBD-related consolidation. Netflix's entry into traditional theatrical distribution is another wild card. Well, if they would just do it, they should have already been doing that. I mean, you're buying one of the oldest and probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, of the, classic Hollywood titans in film. And now you're just going to take the IP, scrap it. Really, Warner Brothers ceases to exist after this, no matter where it ends up. And it's just I guess maybe there'll be an HBO tab on Netflix, Jeez Louise. But yeah, and just recently they released this Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein movie. Now that thing was a visual feast to behold. It's meant to be seen on the big screen, and they did release it in some theaters very selectively and very briefly, and then bam, it's on Netflix. They just haven't made a serious push to be a production studio to put movies in theaters. And it's astounding that they would do that. I mean, really, when you have a film like that, to that level of production and cost, and you don't take the full advantage of it, you could have its theatrical run, and then it's exclusively on Netflix. But no, streaming comes first. So what becomes of the Warner Brothers catalog and the IP that they have? They're all just going to be Netflix shows and movies. It's really the worst outcome. Plus, there's the huge leftist influence over at Netflix. Probably more than the other two. Well, easily now that Paramount's really changing a lot. Well, it's Skydance, it's not Paramount anymore, but you get the deal. Yeah, this isn't good. This really isn't. I mean, it was bad all around. This is the third time that Warner Brothers has had to sell itself. First AT&T, then Discovery, now. So investor concerns are already visible with Netflix stock dipping 5% after reports of real deal momentum. A chaotic final round. The third round of bidding turned ugly. Paramount accused WBD of abandoning a fair process. Paramount warned Netflix's offer wouldn't survive regulators. 2 Paramount letters leaked, signaling the company saw the writing on the wall. Paramount had previously tried to shut down rivals with an early $19 a share bid. Oh, so that was initially their first one, was that? So Paramount could still attempt a hostile takeover pitch to shareholders. Only 20% of long-term WBD shareholders are needed to call a special meeting. Still, as of now, Netflix holds the exclusive negotiating position, the closest any bidder has come to actually acquiring Warner Brothers Discovery. So this is an interesting wrinkle here, saying there's some shenanigans here. This is going to increase the already bad position Netflix would be in when it comes to antitrust regulation, scrutiny, and all that, which also garners up probably the hostile takeover pitch that they could pursue. And they can lay out their argument that the shareholders are like, we're better off with Paramount, and they could still beat out Netflix that way. But maybe not, So yeah, there's still hurdles, but ultimately, right now, it's just up to Zaslav and Netflix and whatever deal they agree to. And if Zaslav likes it, takes it to the board, they agree, it's done. Not yet, because then the government comes in. So then they're stalled for a long time. But as they move forward, especially with Warner Brothers going to split itself into two companies anyway, they can still go ahead and do that, which fits right into what Netflix wants. So you can have that. So probably the worst of the three for this to acquire, the IP and all that. I know the Snyderverse stuff because Snyder had a home at Netflix. It doesn't look like he has that anymore. I mean, what he did for them didn't do very well. And Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead, those are terrible movies. And his Twilight of the Gods, which I didn't even know there was talk of a second season of that, but apparently there was. Well, that got scrapped. Now, Twilight of the Gods, of the three projects he did, was probably the best one. So now he's doing this UFC movie with Saudi money and all that. He's doing other stuff. I don't know if Last Photograph is a Netflix deal. The film I think has finished shooting. But it seems like that's on the out. So the whole thing about sell Snyderverse to Netflix, well, they're probably going to do their own DC. And with the leftist mindset over there, oh, geez. At that point, your best bet is they stick with James Gunn, I guess. I don't know. So, and then ultimately all this was this hoopla about Snyder teasing, DCEU imagery and stuff from his films. Is just they're going to go ahead with him directing a Dark Knight Returns film, and that could be all there is to it. I don't know, but that's the DC stuff. It's not over, but it's damn close to being over.